Yes, we've got a very strong focus, as I mentioned previously, on improving our data management and our systems. So we're busy implementing an integrated safety, health, environment, and community management system, which should go live in July 2025.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me is Caledonia Mining Head of ESG, Colleen Parkins. Colleen, very good to speak with you again. You've just published your 2024 ESG report. What are the highlights?
Yeah, good afternoon, Stephen, and it's really good to speak to you again. Yes, we're very pleased to release our second ESG report that's aligned to the Global Reporting Initiative standards. As you're probably aware, reporting standards have continued to evolve. So this year we included an IFRS Sustainability Standards Readiness Assessment. So we're trying to benchmark standards against the latest sustainability reporting expectations in our ESG reporting journey. So the highlights of our ESG initiatives this year were mainly the completion of the projects in the Sitezi community, which is close to Blanket Mine. And that includes the high school. So we did a whole lot of infrastructure projects there involving classrooms. We did a computer laboratory and a science laboratory, as well as their administration block. And then we also completed a solar project at the Sitezi Clinic, as well as a waiting mother's shelter, which to me personally is a really important project, because the Sitezi Clinic services a community of about a 20-kilometer radius from the mine. And when mothers are about to give birth and they're a long way away, it's hard to travel when they're in labor. So what the Waiting Mother Shelter does is allows the women to come and stay near the clinic, close to their time of giving birth, and they are then close to medical attention. We're also very happy with the performance of our solar plant, and we use a fifth of our power requirements come from our solar plant, and a quarter of our water uses recycled water.
Colleen, how does the ESG strategy align with the company's overall business strategy and long-term vision?
Yeah, so the title of our ESG report is Developing Sustainable Business. And it's just really been important for us to establish a firm foundation of ESG practices. At the moment, we only have one operating mine, and with the potential for a number of new projects to be developed. So we've really focused on establishing a good foundation of our ESG that we can expand on as the business grows. And one really good example of this is that we have a really strong emphasis on improving our systems at the mine to become a data-driven mine. And we've really aligned the ESG requirements with that in the developing of those systems.
Which ESG initiatives have the greatest impact on business?
One of our big focuses is making sure that we align our ESG with our business requirements. We really don't want it to be something that we do on the sidelines. So there are a number of initiatives that impact the business as well as the ESG side of things. The main one of these is our power. Power continues to be one of our main risks for our operation. And our solar plant has contributed to improving our power supply, which means that we've reduced our dependence on diesel generators, and it's also reduced our emissions. So that's a really good example of an operational requirement, which has also had a really good environmental benefit. The other one is water. Zimbabwe had a drought in 2024, and we recycled water from our new tailings storage facility, which meant that a quarter of our water use was recycled water. And in doing that, we reduced our abstraction on scarce water resources in the country. The third one is the Global Industry Standard on Tailings Management. There's been a really strong emphasis on tailings management safety, and we are aligning our tailings dams, development, construction, and operation with the GISTM. In terms of our operations, we also can't forget our local communities. We employ 100% Zimbabwean employees at our Blanket Mine, and many of the people we employ come from those local communities. So we're very cognizant that the projects that we do in the communities that we support are an important aspect of our ESG programs.
Colleen, how are ESG priorities determined, and who's involved in that decision-making process?
Okay, there are a number of processes we use to determine our ESG priorities. First of all, our basic is our legal frameworks. We obviously have to comply with legislation in the country. And then we move on to our stakeholders and our shareholders. Many of our listings require international standards. So we look at best practice standards that are relevant to our business. And examples of those I've mentioned before, the GISTM, Equator Principles, and the Sustainable Development Goals. We have an ESG board committee, which oversees our ESG practices, which meets on a quarterly basis, and then communicates our ESG priorities to the board. We also look at standards which will assist us in the implementing of our environment and social practices on the mine, as well as health and safety. And those include standards like ISO 14001 and ISO 45001, which we also use as frameworks.
Colleen, how are ESG risks identified and integrated into the enterprise risk management system?
Well, we identify our ESG risks in a number of ways. The basic ones are our environmental and social impact assessments of our mining operations. And then our mines all have risk management programs and safety management programs. We've also recently done an Equator Principles gap analysis to have a look at the environmental and social risks to our business at the moment, and then also to our future development projects. The other risk assessment we did during 2024 was our climate change risk assessment. Now, based on all of the risks identified through all of the processes that we've been doing, we either incorporate the risks into the operational risk assessment at the mine, and then those roll up into the full group risk assessment, which is assessed quarterly at board level, if there are then group risks. Then subsequent to that, we put in place management plans to manage those risks and to reduce the probability of them happening.
Any new ESG initiatives planned for the coming year?
Yes, we've got a very strong focus, as I mentioned previously, on improving our data management and our systems. So we're busy implementing an integrated safety, health, environment, and community management system, which should go live in July 2025. We're completing our Equator Principles review in anticipation of potential new projects. And then we also will be putting in place any management plans to address any gaps in those assessments. And another main initiative we've got going during 2025 is having a look at our community project process. We're redoing our needs analysis for the community projects, just to make sure that the community projects that we invest in are relevant and are having a positive impact in our local communities.
Colleen, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated on progress with your ESG initiatives. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Colleen Parkins, Head of ESG at Caledonia Mining.